Welcome to the weekly current affair class. Today we will be dealing with the current affairs from the society and security part. The first topic that we will be dealing with is the acculturation. You must have read in the Hindu article that came yesterday, no, day before yesterday, with respect to acculturation. We will be dealing with it. It is a sociological concept and how it can be helpful with respect to your GS paper 1 society. It can be asked. If you have seen the previous year question papers, you must have come across the very technical questions that the UPSC is asking, whether it is with respect to society or geography. The domains of the question has been very difficult. The questions has been asked from an optional part also. Acculturation, as such, you should know what is the topic that is dealing with, and other some specific terms was also shared in the newspaper with respect to, like, assimilation is there, or one to more terms were there. We will be dealing with all of them. So first of all, we will be dealing with what is acculturation. See, it was the term that was coined in 1880 by the American geologist John Wesley. It is as such not important for your paper point of view that UPSC is not going to ask whether who has coined the term or not, but still you should know the basic concepts. It was a term coined by American geologist. Its name was John Wesley Powell. So what is acculturation? See, acculturation is a process where there is an exchange between the two cultures. There is a give and take. That is also, he defines it as a process. He defines it as a process of, you can see here, cross-cultural imitation resulting from interaction between the various cultures. For example, culture A is there, culture B is there. Some aspects of culture A are influencing culture B, and some aspects of culture B are influencing culture A. There is a give and take between both of them. You can, very nice example with respect to this is of caste. You can highlight it that, see, caste is a concept of Hindu society, but it is also prevalent within Islam. If you will see within the context of India, you will also find the caste within the Islam in the Indian society. So that is a process of acculturation that is there. Okay, it is a cross-cultural imitation resulting from interaction between the different cultures. Like I have highlighted you here that culture A is influencing culture B, and some aspects of culture B are influencing culture A. Further moving forward, it is acquiring as well as modifying the culture of a group through contact with one or more cultures. It is a two-way process. Obviously, from this example, you can see that it is a two-way process. It is not that only culture A is influencing B or only culture B is influencing A. It is a two-way process. Both of the cultures are influencing each other, and due to that influence, some aspects of culture are modified. For example, I have given you the example of caste. If caste is found within the Islamic society in India, it has modified the some main basic tenets of Islam with respect to the Indian society. So that is the modifying of the culture through contact with one or more cultures. It is a two-way process. It is not that one minority or majority group is influencing the other one. Okay. Further, the main major thing about this is that groups are able to retain their own identity. In this, basically, this is a basic difference also with respect to when we will be dealing further with the assimilation, that in assimilation cultures are absorbed in the majority group, and due to which the minority groups lose their own identity. But here what is happening is that no doubt influence is going on, but they are able to retain both the cultures. For example, A and B are able to retain the basic fundamental tenets with respect to their culture. You can take the example of Indian society as well. For example, many cultures are present there. Let's take an example of Hinduism and Islam. Both have influenced each other over the period of time, but both have also maintained their own identity, their own basic fundamental tenets with respect to their cultures. No doubt some things have gone in the process of modification, but as such fundamental changes with respect to their identity have not gone through the process of change. See, further it is highlighted that where this concept is more prevalent, it is prevalent in relation to cultural exchange between the minority group and the predominant majority group. Basically witnessed in societies. Obviously it will not be witnessed in the homogeneous society. Okay, homogeneous society belongs to a one culture. So how one culture will be able to influence its own culture? So that is that it will not be prevalent there. It is a process of the heterogeneous societies. Obviously in heterogeneous society, one group will be in majority. For example, 2 to 3 groups are, if they are present, the one group will be dominant and other groups will be in the minority. So there is an exchange between the two different cultural groups. One of them will belong to the minority group and other will belong to the majority group. Further examples that were given in the article itself by the author were very beautiful examples. For example, the Urdu language, it emerged due to process of acculturation, due to the process of basically exchange between the different cultures. For example, Arabic is there, Persian is there, Turkish is there, Hindi is there. I will further simplify it. For example, the dialect of Urdu is with respect to Hindi. Okay, you will not find much change when any another person is speaking Urdu. The dialect is same as that of Hindi, but if you go through the written part, the grammatical part, it is more or less influenced by the Arabic or the Persian parts. So this is the exchange between 2 to 3 cultures. Hindi is also influencing it, Arabic and Persian is also influencing it. Okay, another, for example, biryani, the example of biryani was given. We Indians have basically influenced the process of biryani. It is a Persian dish, and over the period of time, Persian flavor is also present there, but we have also influenced it through the Indian tradition, Indian spices, Indian taste. So the process of biryani or the making of biryani is influenced both by the Persian tradition as well with respect to the Indian taste also. So in nutshell, what is acculturation? Acculturation is a process where there is a cultural interaction between the two groups. One of them will be in majority and another one will be in minority, and due to this cultural interaction, some modification of the cultures will go, because each of them is influencing each others, and that is how the process of modification will occur. But as such, the two groups will be able to maintain its identity, because the fundamental tenets or the fundamental aspects with respect to culture will not be changed. So that is called the process of acculturation, and the best example where it is prevalent, it is the Indian society. Indian society, our society is secular, and you will see that our society does not promote the process of assimilation. We have allowed various religious minority groups to retain their own basic identity as well as get influenced by the majority groups. But on the other way, minority groups has also in some aspects influenced the majority culture. It is not with respect to the other religious states like that are prevalent. Saudi Arabia is there or any another state prevalent there, that only majority, the culture of majority group will be present there, and other ones will have to adhere to that culture. Here both minority and majority groups are influencing each other, going through the process of modification, but as well are able to retain their basic identity as well. That is also, you can say, the aspect of secularism that is prevalent within the Indian society. So this was our first concept. I hope you are clear with it. Second one is second thing is the concept that was talked about was the assimilation. So what is assimilation? See, assimilation, it is now you have to create a distinction here. It is a one-way process in which one group takes over the culture and identity of the other and becomes part of that group. For example, I earlier also highlighted example that, for example, one group is A, this is a majority group and this is a minority group. Okay, so what is happening here is that group A is basically, or the majority dominant group in society, is not going through the process of cultural interaction. A is influencing B, but on the other hand, B is not able to influence the A part. If they have to exist in society, they will have to adopt this culture. Okay, that is why it is a one-way process. Both side cultural interaction is not there, because so that is why the group will lose its own cultural identity, because for their survival, to retain their presence, to retain their existence in society, they will have to get absorbed into the majority culture and leave their own cultural aspect if they have to survive in society. Very much similar with respect to the religious states that are present there. The main fundamental difference with respect to Indian society is we allow the religious minorities to retain their own culture and belief and practices, whereas the religious societies, they argue for that if you have to exist in society, you want to live here, you will have to adopt the cultural practices of the majority group, and your cultural interaction or beliefs and practices will not be allowed to, is of less significance there. Okay, further, fitting in, see, this is another keyword here. Fitting in is in a new cultural space is considered to be of necessity for survival. Like earlier, now I highlighted you that, for example, if you move to some another place, a religious society, you want to live there permanently. So what will happen is that basically, for example, you move to Middle East, or some another ABC country with the religious title. So what will happen there is that you will not be allowed to retain your own cultural practices. You will have to adopt the cultural practices and beliefs of the majority group A and become absorbed in it. Okay, that is why it is a one way process. When you get absorbed in the majority group, you will lose your own cultural identity. And further, it occurs in a society which are based on the melting pot model. I hope that in your classes you have studied the various type of models. Melting pot model is there, salad bowl model is there. Okay, these are very important, because in your society the first topic is, that is unity, features of Indian society, and then unity in diversity. That is where you will be studying the models, that is melting pot model is there, or the fruit salad bowl model is there. Okay, so that is all with respect to assimilation. So what tenets, this can also be helpful in your essay part also, that on what aspect Indian society should be based, or what model should Indian society promote. It is the process of acculturation, where religious minorities are able to retain their own identity, not of assimilation, where the less dominant group is, for their need of survival, have to become absorbed in the majority group. So that is all that is there with respect to assimilation. Two things that you need to keep in mind with respect to assimilation: one, it is a one way process. Second, the minority group loses its own cultural identity and becomes absorbed in the majority group. That is assimilation. Next thing that is separation. So what is separation? It refers to a process in which individual or group comes in contact with the new cultural group but does not embrace the aspects of a new culture. Why? I will be explaining it. Group wishes to retain their own identity. This is a keyword here. They do not want to establish contact with the values and rituals of the other culture. See, what is the process here is, for example, we will take the same example. A is the majority group, B is the minority group. So here B is fearful that if I will be dealing with the culture A, okay, or if I will be having a cultural interaction with the majority group, so what will happen is that my beliefs, my cultural practices, they will be tinkered with, okay, and they will become modified through the process of interaction. So what they want to do here is that they want to retain their basic identity as it is existing in the earlier form. They do not want to go through the process of modification. Even while they may be, for example, in acculturation, they are able to retain their own identity, but we have seen that some aspects may get tinkered with. But here group also does not want that. They want to retain their identity as it is existing in the earlier forms. That is why they do not wish to maintain any cultural contact or cultural imitation with the majority group that is present there. So what will be happening is, why they are doing so? Again, they want to retain their own identity. So what is the consequence of this? This results in culturally segregated societies, racially segregated societies. There is a separation, there is exclusion, there is clear demarcation between the groups, heterogeneous groups that are prevalent within the society. That is a process of separation. Moving forward to the another part, that is a transmutation. See, what is transmutation? Transmutation, it results in a creation of a new culture. How? Example, A group is there, then B group is there. Both, basically what happens in here is, both goes through the process of modification, and in return not only goes through the process of modification but make some new group, that is C. They mix their cultural beliefs and gives creation to the new tenet or the new cultural belief and practices in the societies in the form of a new group that is prevalent. It is a unique blend of two cultures. Obviously, if they are making some new culture out of the two beliefs and practices, it will be accepted by the both the groups. It can be also stated with respect to, partially true with respect to American society also, because American society is an immigrant society. So American culture that is there, it is a mixture of many. Indians have also influenced, basic red Indians I am talking about, indigenous groups, they have influenced it. Then Christians, basically those who moved from the area period of persecution in Europe to the American society, they have also influenced it. African Americans have also influenced it, Italians have influenced it, then Irish have influenced it, and now Indians are influencing it. So the American culture that is prevalent there, it is a mixture of many various groups that has given to the new form, that is the what we say American culture. You can talk about here Europeans, these are African Americans, red Indians, then Indian society, all the groups that have migrated to the American society. It is a land of immigrants. They have mixed their cultural beliefs and give place to a new culture that is called as the American culture. These were the technical terms that were prevalent in the article. You can use them with respect to your paper or with respect to a particular question that comes across in the GS also. For example, unity and diversity is there. You can make use of these terms, melting pot and all accumulation, assimilation terms. In nutshell, I will be again briefing them. See, what is the process of acculturation? Two things you need to remember here. It is a two-way process, and both the cultures go through the process of cultural interaction while they are able to maintain their own identity, but some beliefs or cultural practices may get tinkered with and get modified in the form of process. Best example author himself has given is the process of Urdu, which is influenced by the many cultures, Arabic, Persian and Hindi is there. Then is a process of assimilation. Here again two things you need to remember. One, it is a one-way process. Second thing is basically the majority and minority groups. There is a distinction. The minority groups, if they want to survive, if they want to fit in a new society, they will have to get absorbed into the majority culture and will have to lose their own identity. That is a process of assimilation. Next one is a separation. Here the less dominant group is fearful that because of cultural interaction, because we are less in number, it may get happen that our beliefs and practices will get tinkered with and they will lose their own identity in the process of cultural interaction. So that is why in order to retain their own identity, they do not wish to go for a cultural interaction with the dominant group. And last one is a transmutation. Here both or the two or the more than two groups that are prevalent in the society, they basically mix their cultures and give place to a new culture. That, for example, I have highlighted here is a American culture. It is a mixture of many immigrants from all over the world basically, and it is accepted by all the groups. That is why new culture has taken place in the society. So this is all that is there with respect to this society part. These terms were there and you can use them in your paper. So now we will be moving to the society security part. Here you may have come across many articles that are coming today in newspapers that are with respect to the defense indigenization. The articles have come across in what we say Indian Express also and in the Hindu also. And you will also see study in current affairs that many a times the news is the most basic focus of the government today is to go for the what we say self-reliance in the defense sector. That is why this topic comes important for your mains perspective. So what is defense indigenization? See, India under its Atmanirbhar strategy, it aims to you must have come across the Atmanirbhar strategy. If you haven't studied it, you can study it. It may be asked in your GS paper also, and something with respect to it, it may be asked in the essay paper also. Okay. So why Atmanirbhar strategy and what is its focus? It aims to achieve self-reliance in the critical sectors. Okay, critical sectors you must have studied in your security classes also. What are the critical sectors that are prevalent and why government wants to go for self-reliance in those sectors? And one of the most critical sector here is our defense sector. So, but first before going for defense indigenization or studying the defense draft policy, we need to ask ourselves why is there a need for defense indigenization when we can, today is a period of globalization, you can access all the best technical know-how or the state of the art technology from all over the world. Basically with money you can buy any aircraft, any defense weapon, any missile system from any country that is having. But why the focus on defense indigenization? We need to ask ourselves that question. So first thing is you must also be knowing about the SIPRI Stockholm report that comes every year with respect to the military expenditure of the countries. So what does it talk about? SIPRI states that India was the third largest, first of all, military spender in 2021. This can be linked with respect to China issue is there, obviously, then Pakistan issue is there. We are sharing the border with these countries. Then also with respect to, it can be respect to focus on Indo-Pacific also. Okay, that is why India is rapidly going for defense modernization. But the further, it is not a bad thing that we want to modernize our defense forces. The concern lies in, the report states that in the period of 2017 to 21, India was the largest importer of arms in the world. Okay, so why basically the importing thing basically hampers our economy? That is a concern here. It results in increased trade deficit, because there are some countries where where we are trading with those countries only in the defense sector. Our another bilateral trade with respect to goods, merchants, crafts and all, that is not prevalent there. The major relationship in the trade area is with respect to the defense, and we are only buying from them. What that results in? It results in trade deficit and also the depletion of our forex reserves, because we have to pay them. Obviously, if we are buying, it increases the trade deficit with respect to that particular country, and it also depletes our forex reserves and goes for a, and what it results in? Multiplier. You must have studied in your economic class. It results in multiplier effect on our economy. So this is our first issue that is there. Second issue that is there, the import basically, it has security implications also. Security implications how? Because the critical technology, for example, there is you can highlight the example here for of S-400 missile system that India is buying from the Russians, but it is being sold to many countries by the companies or the countries also. It is being sold to the Turkey also by the Russians. So what happens is, we are diluting our strategic advantage. The advantage of being a country having only country or only among the one or two countries having that particular technology, military technology, that can be a game changer in the war. So that will basically, we are losing our strategic advantage due to that. Okay, that is the major issue here. Third issue basically here is self-reliance. It is crucial in our defense sector. Why? Because it will lead to overall industrial growth. If we will be going for defense modernization plus, and our focus is on self-reliance, that we will make our own defense technology, it will create employment in the manufacturing sector. Obviously, we are having a demographic dividend, and we need to give jobs to the, particularly the most prominent field in our country is engineering, and most of our engineers are moving to the foreign bases, resulting in the brain drain. So it is necessary for employment as well as the promotion of the ancillary industries. There will be it will result in creation of many ancillary industries, small industries that will be supplying the parts to the major defense industry. Okay, so it will create employment as well as will it result in the industrial growth. That is also necessary for the economic growth of our country also. Next thing, the another major issue is that companies, they do not share technical know-how, that basically how this particular technology or how this particular defense weapon or how this particular that is what we say jet plane is there or fighter plane is there, how that was made. They do not want to go for the technology transfer also. Then they do not build components in the country. You must have come across yesterday or day before yesterday, the news was there with respect to the India is purchasing Hornets from the Boeing company. So the major condition that was laid and Boeing agreed to it, that we will go through this project building through the Make in India project. India listed it as a major demand that we want to build some of the aircrafts in India only, and the Boeing agreed to it. But major companies like Lockheed are there or another companies are there, they do not agree to these processes, that we will not build the components in India, they will be built in their company bases in the foreign country only. Further, we will not transfer you the technology, that how this particular jet, for example Hornet or Rafale is there, that how they were particularly made. And the most critical issue is they do not skill individuals with respect to issues of maintenance and service. For maintenance, for service, for even the supply of critical parts, like I have mentioned, the technology transfer is there, they are not transferred to India. So we have to rely upon these companies perpetually, or the countries perpetually, to supply the parts, to go for the service and maintenance of the defense weapons that we are buying for them. So it results in very much hassle, as well as the India is not gaining from that process, because if we are not, if after paying so much also, if we are not gaining, that how that particular jet fighter plane or that particular anti-tank missile is there, that how that is made, or how we even have to maintain or service that particular defense weapons, then basically it is a loss of India. That is also why India is going for the defense indigenization. Next, there is a long gestation period, that this is also, you must have come across the newspapers, that for example, if we are buying some Rafale jets or there, or some another particular aircraft is there, the gestation period is as long as 5 to 6 years. Okay, but we are in the geographically strategic place, and we are having our border issues with respect to India, Pakistan, that is there, and we are in the critical demand of the defense weapons. But this long gestation period also hinders our strategic advantage of buying those weapons. That is a major issue. Then further, why defense indigenization? It will result in autonomy and independence in the defense sector from the US and Russia, because almost 85% of our import in the defense sector is from these two countries. And if we are building our own weapons, we are building our own defense industry, we will be gaining the autonomy in defense sectors from these particular countries, and we may even build a particular technology that will be having access with respect to India only. So that is why defense indigenization is important. It may be asked in your mains answer also question. So the 5 to 6 points that you have to mention is, first one is basically India is the largest military spender. It is not a problem, but it is also a largest importer of arms. It results in the trade deficit and depletion of forex reserve. Economic effect. Second economic effect is that if we are going for a defense modernization with respect to indigenization in the country, we will be creating the employment in the manufacturing sector, as well as we will be basically going for the industrial creation also. We will promote ancillary industries as well. Next thing that is there is self-reliance. With respect to the security implications, okay, there are many parts that are being sold by the countries as well as the companies to the other countries also. This hinders our dilutes our strategic advantage. Next issue is with respect to our technical know-how, transfer of critical technology, skilling the individuals with respect to how to maintain or service the vehicles, building some components or the parts of the defense weapons in India under the Make in India program. So that is also not happening. That is the issue. And another issue is with respect to the your long gestation periods that are prevalent there. The period is along, basically basic average period is at least 5 years before the full technology and all the components are transferred to the buying country. And last one here is again strategic autonomy and independence from the, what we say, the major from where 85% of our imports are coming, that is basically US and Russia. So that is why defense indigenization is important. And in this aspect, if you will see that basically India has, what has done it is, India has released the draft defense production and export promotion policy, okay, 2020. We will be seeing with, basically it can also be asked with respect to your mains question. We will be covering the basic objectives and goals of these schemes. So what is the first basic objective here? That India, government has stated that we will be achieving a turnover of 1,75,000 crores, that is approximately 25 US billion dollars, okay, in the defense industry. And from that we will be having a export of at least rupees 35,000 crore, US $5 billion in aerospace and defense goods by 2025. So this target becomes important. So what has said, we want to achieve a turnover of 1,75,000 crore, and out of that we want to go for 35,000 crore export in the aerospace and defense goods sector. And there is a specific timeline that the government has stated, and that is by 2025. Next thing is basically to develop a dynamic, robust and competitive defense industry. And again the major focus here will be on the aerospace and naval shipbuilding industry to cater the needs of the armed forces with the quality product. So that is also the issue here. What wants India? Wants another objective, it's a dynamic, robust and competitive defense industry, including the focus on aerospace and the naval shipbuilding. Next one is, we want to reduce dependence on imports and take forward the Make in India initiative. Also the issue that we discussed in that why India wants to go for the defense modernization. We discussed in our last point also that we want to go for the Make in India project so that we can not only reduce our strategic dependence upon the another countries, but as well as we can go for the industrial growth and creation as well. So that is why it has been the feature of our this defense production policy also. Another thing is, we want to promote the export of defense product and become a part of the global defense value chain, like US is there or Russia is there or Israel is there. We have seen that basically these countries are defense export is a major part of their export promotion policy. India also wants to achieve that and it wants to become a part of the global defense value chain part. So that is the another objective. Next one is, we want to create an environment that encourages R&D, rewards innovation, creates Indian IP system. You must also be IP ownership. Indian IP policy is there 2016. You must be aware of that also. If you haven't studied it, please go online and study that. And it wants to promote a robust and self-reliant defense industry. So here the focus is that if we want to go for defense modernization, we want to promote the new industry, we want to create the strategic autonomy. How that will be achieved? That will be achieved through research and development. If we reward innovation, if we create a robust Indian IP intellectual property right ownership regime and a self-reliant defense industry. So again in nutshell what are the basic points? First one is the specific target, that is of annual turnover that is to be achieved by the 2025 with the specific target of the export that is to be achieved. Second thing is a robust, dynamic and competitive defense industry. Third one is, we want to go for the Make in India project and reduce the dependence of imports in the defense sector. Next one, as global defense export is a major part of the basically export promotion policy of the developed countries like Russia is there or US is there or developing like Israel are there. India also wants to become a part of the global value defense chain. And last one is to go for the strategic autonomy, to go for defense indigenization. We need to focus on our research and development, innovation is there, Indian IP ownership regime is there and self-reliant defense industry is there. That is basically defense production and export promotion policy 2020. Moving forward, so with respect to way forward, what are the steps that have been already taken by the government for the indigenization? What are the steps? See, you have Srijan portal is there, you have IDEX is there, then obviously Make in India is there. India has gone through the defense corridor projects, UP and Tamil Nadu is there. Then we are giving impetus to private production as well. Government has stated that if private players want to go for PPP mode or they want to create their own products, they are most welcome. Then we are going for the overhaul of ordnance factories that are there, basically that provides the production of the defense weapons, and we are encouraging the DRDO in the design development, and they have produced some exceptional results like with respect to missiles is there, Agni is there, Prithvi is there. So this can also be your way forward. This can also be specifically asked that what are the steps that have been taken by the government of India to promote the defense indigenization. These all things should find a mention within your answer, that is region portal, IDEX, then Make in India project is there, defense corridors, impetus to private production, overhaul of defense factories, then encouraging DRDO. You can also mention here defense expo is also basically done. Okay, that can also be the part of this indigenization where RD and innovation is being encouraged and incentivized. Okay, these are the steps for indigenization. Moving forward, new technologies, this can be asked with respect to your what we say prelims exams, that what are these particular technologies, or like earlier also they have UPSC has asked in prelims that by giving a name of a particular technology, sorry, that what is this particular technology, and they will give you 4 answers that how what this name is particularly related to. So first one is F Insans. It stands for Future Infantry Soldier as a System. What is it? It is a program for infantry modernization. It basically wants to increase the operational capability of the soldier. In this particular system, the soldiers are equipped with modern systems that are lightweight, all-weather terrain and cost-effective and low maintenance. So it basically wants to improve the capability of the soldiers who are working at the, or who are basically deployed at the soldier areas or in the war regime also. So that is F Insans. Second thing is your Nipun missiles. What are these? These are indigenously, again this is the indigenous mechanism developed, designed by the DRDO. Like anti-tank missiles are there that are deployed against the tanks, these are deployed against the humans, and they are anti-personnel mines, basically obviously I have told you, designed by the DRDO. For example, in the war scenario, the first this can be acted as the first line of defense, that if infantry is mobilized, these Nipun missiles can be deployed against the infantry mobilization, just like the anti-tank missiles that are deployed against the heavy tanks, these will be deployed against the infantries or the human soldiers. And last one here is the landing craft assault. See, it is a vessel. What is landing craft assault? Again, it is an indigenous project. It is a vessel which is a replacement of boats. Okay, for what? Basically to operate across the water obstacles, as they have better speed and capacity. Obviously it will be carrying more individuals with respect to, in comparison to boat, and it will be having more speed than boat, basically to cover the water obstacles. If you have come across the news, you must have also read it, that it is being deployed in the eastern Leh sector that is there. Government has, or the army has made use of this vessel in that area to come across the basically Pangso lake and all that water obstacle that is there. That is where it was firstly used. So what is it? It is a vessel basically which replaces boat. Why? Because it has better speed than boat, and it has better capacity, or it can carry more number of individuals to cover the, or to come across the water obstacles that the army mobilization or the any, what we say, contingent that may come across. So this is all that is where that is there with respect to today's current affair classes that is there. We covered both the topics with respect to security and society. And again I will be repeating that if you haven't come across what we say IP policy that is there, 2016 intellectual property policy, please go through it. It is very important, and the terms that are there also you can note down it as I have dictated in the class. These are also very helpful with respect to your exams. So thank you very much, and all the best for your future endeavors.